Hello everyone, myself N. Rajeshwari. I am working as contract lecturer in electrical department in Government Polytechnic, Cherial College. I am dealing with the subject electrical power systems. In that I am dealing the topic distribution systems. Today I am discussing about need for substations, relative merits and indoor and outdoor substations and gas insulated substations. So before going to start the class, I have to explain some of the previous class topics. So, before going to tell the what is the distribution system, so I would like to tell some known things. So first, uh, generating stations will generate some voltage levels at generating stations. The generated power will transmit through the transmission lines and distribution lines. So this distribution is the end part of the total power generation. So at the generating stations, the generated voltage like 3.3 kV or 11 kV like that, they will generate the electrical energy. So this electrical energy is transmitted with the help of transmission lines. So from the generating stations, it will step up the voltage 11 kV to 110 kV like that. So from the transmission lines, these lines will transmit the voltages to the distribution lines. So the distribution lines will distribute the power to the consumers. First thing, a generator generates the voltage at generating stations. These will give the generating station will supplies the electrical energy to the transmission lines. So these transmission lines from the transmission means that power transferred from the generating stations to the load centers or substations. From the transmission lines, it will goes to the distribution network. So what is the distribution system? The distribution system which collects the power from the transmission lines and it distributed the electrical energy from the substations to the load centers or consumer premises. So in our India, the voltages are like 3.3 kV to 400 kV volts. So the electrical energy generated at generating stations and it is conveyed to the consumers through the network of transmission and distribution from generating to the distribution. So the generation voltages are 3.3 kV, 6.6 kV, 11 kV and 33 kV. And transmission line voltages, the transmission network will transmit the power 110 kilovolts, 132 kV and 220 kV and 400 kV like that. The distribution come to the distribution purpose, the distribution systems, the high voltage distribution and low voltage distributions are there. So for high voltage distribution 3.3 kV, 6.6 kV, 11 kV. For low voltage distribution, it is AC for AC 400 volts between phases and 230 volts phase to neutral. That is single phase line. For DC, it is a three-wire system. 2 times of 220 volts is supplied in the DC systems. These are the voltages used in India. So after that, what is a distribution system? The distribution system is nothing but the conductor system by which electrical energy is conveyed from a substation to the consumer is called distribution systems. So in this, the electrical energy is conveyed to the substations to the consumers. From transmission, it is generating stations to the substations. In generating station, the electrical energy is generated. So the main requirements for good distribution systems are given below, like that. The declared consumer voltage should be within the prescribed limits, that is plus or minus 5% of voltage. So this is a requirement for good transmission, good distribution systems, and high reliability. So high reliability of the supply, it should be more, because no failure of power losses or power and power cuts. This is high reliability, and maximum efficiency of the line should be 90 percentage of total efficiency. So that is the maximum efficiency, that is 90 percentage of efficiency is a requirement for good distribution systems. And non-overloading of distribution lines. If it overloads, then the problems on loading of distribution lines, because distribution systems will step down voltages from 400 to 230 volts, so that overloading capacity is required is less. One of the requirement is high insulation resistance of the system. So it should be high insulation resistance, because the voltages are distributed voltages, and it is more economical system. So these are the things, requirements for good distribution systems. Coming to the substations, the electrical power is generated at the generating stations which are far away from the consumers or load centers. So the generated power is transmitted through the large networks to the distribution stations or substations. So those are the transmission networks. From generating stations to the distribution system, the link is transmission system. So from generating station to the generated power is transmitted to the transmission lines. Again, the transmission lines will transmit the power to the distribution stations or substations. These distribution stations or substations uh, uh, conveys the power to the consumers or load centers. From the substation, the power is distributed to the consumers. And coming to the definition of substations, the definition of substation is the assembly of apparatus used to change some characteristics, that is voltage, AC to DC, alternating current into DC, direct current, and frequency and power factor, etc. are the characteristics of electrical supply. The assembly of apparatus used to change some characteristics of electrical supply is called a substation. So this is the diagram, pictorial diagram of substations. So this is the substation in diagram. In that, the transformers and current transformers, so isolators, lightning arresters, these are the apparatus used in this substation. These apparatus is used for change of characteristics of substations. Our electrical supply is called substation. Next, need for substations. What are the need for substations? If we install one substation, what it should need is given, that the generated power must be conveyed to the consumer premises with less transmission and distribution losses, because losses are more, means the effective generative power must be reduced. So without with less losses means the efficiency of the power generation is more, so that uh, the generating power must completely with more efficiently, it will reach to the consumer premises. As the generating stations are located far away from the load centers, the intermediate substations are required to deliver electric power to the consumers. substation changes the characteristics of electrical supply from one to another. It means that it will change the voltage from one level to other level, and AC to DC, and frequencies higher to lower, some power factor to higher to lower, power factor correction, and frequency changes. So these are the some characteristics changes from one to another. So these substations will change the characteristics of electrical supply. And come to the functions of substations. It will convert the substations to convert AC to DC or DC to AC, known as power converting operations. So it will convert one form of energy to other form. So that is alternating current into direct current, or direct current into alternating current, and vice versa. It will the process is known as power converting operation. So next thing is to convert frequency from higher to lower, or vice versa, known as frequency converting operation. That means the frequency from higher to lower, or lower to higher, or 50 to 60, or 60 to 50, like that it will convert. So this process is nothing but a frequency converting operation. To improve the power factor by installing synchronous condenser at end of the line, known as power factor correction operation, because these power factor correction is achieved at the receiving end of the line, so that the synchronous condensers are installed at the end of the line to improve the power factor. The process is known as power factor correction operation. And the next thing is to switch on and off of the power lines, known as switching operation. So on and off means switch on and switch off is power lines. This is the switching operation of substations. So that is feeder on, feeder off. So line is on and line off. So that is the switching operation of the substations. And next thing is the to transform voltage from higher to lower, or lower to higher, is known as voltage transformation operation. From high voltage to low voltage, or low voltage to high voltage, or step down or step up, the conversions, these are nothing but voltage transformation operations. So coming to classification of substations, there are some of the different types according to some factors. These are classified into uh, types of service, and they and according to the type of function, like that. So the substations may be classified into different types according to the first one is type of service. It is a static and converting AC to DC. And type of function, then type of function, and according to the type of functions, is a distribution, power factor, and frequency changer, and extra high voltage transmission, and industrial. These are the type of function classifications. And coming to the according to type of control, it's manual and automatic control. And type of design or location, it is indoor and outdoor and underground substations. And type of equipment is that transformer type, and converter and rectifier, motor, generator type of substations are there. And according to the operating voltage, the high voltage substations, that is HP substations, which involves the voltages between 11 kV and 66 kV. In between these two, the high voltage substations are used. And extra high voltage substations, which are involving the voltages between 132 kV to kV and 400 kV. In between these two values, the extra high voltage substations are used. And ultra high voltage substations are operating voltages above 400 kV. Above 400 kV lines, These ultra high voltage substations are used for transmitting the power from substations to the consumers. Then coming to types of substations, there are some of the classifications in these type of service, type of function, type of control, type of design and location, type of equipment. From these classifications, some of the further classified types are there. So in this, first of all, static substations. The static substations, it is the based on type of service. So sir, in service, the based on service, the static substations are there. So these substations are those which transforms power from one voltage to the another voltage. So if we take high voltage, then high to low voltage, or 11, if we assume that 11 kV, we can take that value as 11 kV, then 11 to 33, or 32, if we take 33, or 11, it comes to 33 to 11, or 33 to 66, like that. These substations are transforms power from one voltage to the another voltage. In static substations, there are further classified into three types. One is transmission or primary substations, and second thing is the secondary substations, and third one is the distribution substations. So in primary and transmission substations, so first of all, we know that from generating to the transmission, transmission has two transmissions. One is primary and secondary transmission, and distribution also. It from two types, but one is primary distribution and secondary distribution. Once power comes from generating station, it will comes to the primary substations. So these primary substations will step up the voltage from generating voltage to the high values, so that these primary substations will uh, transmit high voltages from transmission lines to the secondary substations. So secondary transmission substations means these are a step down the voltages from high voltage to low voltages, and it sends to the distribution systems, substations. Distribution substation, first one is the primary distribution substation. In this primary distribution substations, it will um, step down to the voltages, and it will send to the secondary distribution system. In that secondary distribution systems, so these secondary substations will distribution substations will further step down to the voltages, and it will send to the consumer premises. So first, in case of primary transmission or primary substations, such substations are usually associated with generating stations, and generated voltage, the generating voltage which is usually low, that is 3.3, 6.6, and 11 or 33 kV. This voltage is a generated voltage at the generating stations. So this generated voltage is stepped up to the primary transmission voltage, so that huge blocks of power can be transmitted over long distances to the load centers economically. So this means that from generating stations to the generator voltage will stepped up to the primary transmission voltage, and this stepped up value or power will send to the secondary substations. So these are the secondary substations which are located at suitable load centers along the primary transmission lines. So in these substations, the primary transmission voltage is stepped down to the different suitable secondary voltages. From the primary transmission, it will be stepped down to the secondary. At the secondary substations, it will step down, and from secondary to primary distribution substations, it will also step down at the distribution centers also. So in these substations, the primary transmission voltage is stepped down to different suitable secondary values or voltages. The secondary transmission lines are carried over to the secondary substations, which are located or situated at the load centers where the voltage is further stepped down to the sub-transmission or primary distribution voltages. From secondary substations to the primary distribution substations, we'll get the step down voltage, and it will step down again and send to the secondary distribution systems. So next thing is distribution substations. The third classification is distribution substations. In these distribution substations, such substations are located at the load centers where the sub-transmission or primary distribution voltage is stepped down to the secondary distribution voltage. This is the secondary distribution substations. So where voltage is 415 or 240 volts. These are the substations which feed the consumer through distribution network and service lines. So this is the final, the secondary distribution substations which are feed to the voltage to the consumers through the distribution network or service mains or feeders, like that. It will send to the power from distribution substations to the consumers or load centers. So this is the static substation type of, on basis of type of service, static substations. In that static substations, primary and secondary and distribution substations. And further, one more classification or type are converting substations. The name suggests that converting means it converts one form of energy into another form. So in these substations, these are meant for either converting AC to DC or DC to AC, or converting frequency from higher to lower or lower to higher. These are the converting substations. And next classification is industrial substation. These are mainly used for industries which are requiring bulk energy or bulk power requirements. The industrial substations are also known as bulk substations and are traditionally referred to distributive substations. However, these are dedicated consumers only. So, example, industries requiring bulk power to be supplied. So, in that case only, these industrial substations are installed. And one more type is power factor correction substations. So in this, power factor is improved in these substations. So these are the substations which improve the power factor of the system are called power factor correction substations. In these substations, which are generally located at receiving end of the transmission line, because these substations generally use synchronous condensers at the power factor improvement equipment. So these synchronous condensers are connected the end of the transmission line, because at the receiving end only the power factor will be improved or corrected. So these synchronous condensers are connected at the load ends, which improves the power factor uh, in the substation. So this is the power factor correction substation. And next one is frequency changer substations. So in frequency changer substations, the frequency is changes from higher to lower or lower to higher. So those substations which changes the supply frequency are known as frequency changer substations. So such a frequency change may be required for industrial utilization. So one of the industries required 50 hertz frequency, and one more industry requires a 60 hertz frequency or 48 hertz frequency, like that. Every industry has its own frequency levels for industrial utilization. So these frequency changer substations are required to install at the industrial areas for industrial utilization. And coming to indoor substations, the voltage up to 11 kV, the equipment of the substation is installed indoor because of economic considerations. So for voltages up to 11 kV, these indoor substations are installed for economic consideration. However, when the atmosphere is polluted with some impurities, these substations can be erected or set up for 66 kV voltages, up to 66 kV voltages. These are the indoor substations. Next one is outdoor substations. So outdoor substations are for voltages beyond 66 kV. So the equipment is invariably constant or installed outdoor. So it is because of such voltages, the clearances between the conductors and the space required for switches, circuit breakers, and other equipment becomes so great that it's not economical to install the equipment indoor. So in indoor substations, the complete it is used for up to 11 kV only, so that some equipment in the substation installed indoor, but above 66 kV it will not be used for indoor substations. So we can take the outdoor substations beyond voltage 66 kV. So this equipment invariably are constant installed outdoor. So in this, the clearance between the conductor space required for switches and circuit breakers and other equipments to install, not economical to install equipment in indoor. So we use this as outdoor substations. So next thing is underground substations. In underground substations, these are used in thickly populated areas. So the space available for equipment and building is limited, and the cost of the land is high. Under such situations, the substation is created underground. So thickly populated areas means the space availability is less for build up the equipment and buildings. So the limited area will be provided for these substations. So in this case, the cost of the land also heavy or increasing high values. So in that such situations, it will be created at the underground. So with low cost of land and space required, high space required for underground substations. So in above the ground, it is thickly populated areas means no space for installing any substation in the populated area situation. So that we need to install the substations in underground only. So these are the underground substations. So coming to advantages of outdoor substations over indoor substations. So these the below are the advantages. First, we will see the advantages of outdoor substations over indoor substations are the construction work required is much smaller because indoor means that 11 kV up to 11 kV voltages it can bear, so that the equipment needed to 11 kV only it will be installed in the indoor substations, but construction work is smaller in outdoor substations only over indoor substations. So all the equipments are visible and hence it is easy for fault identification because these are outdoor substations, means all the equipments connected in the substation are visible to everyone and visible things, so that if any fault occurs on the transmission line in the substations, it will identified with the persons working in the substations. So the fault identification is easy for identifying, and it will remove with the persons worked at their places in the substation areas. So as no building is necessary for these substations and a less quantity of building material is used, because in indoor substations the building construction is must and should, so that the high heavy quantity of building material needed for indoor, but less quantity of building material is needed for outdoor substations. Erection can be completed with lesser time in case of indoor substations. The outdoor substations will erect the problem completely with less time. The extension of scheme is easier in outdoor substations over the indoor substations. Some of the disadvantages of outdoor substations over indoor substations. So in this, the switching and maintenance of equipment becomes difficult during rainy seasons. Rainy seasons means uh, the outdoor substation is constructed in outdoor places, so that the equipment installed in the outdoor substations are visible, so the switching and maintenance of operation will become difficult in during rainy seasons. Without rainy season, it will not difficult for a person where which are working on switching and maintenance. But in rainy seasons, it is more difficult to handle the situations, and the maintenance is more because dust and dirt deposition is more in outdoor substation operators compared with indoor substations, because maintenance cost is more for dust and dirt particles are placed in every equipment, because all the equipment are constructed invisible and outdoor substation, because this dirt and dust deposition will be more in outdoor substation operators. These are prone to lightning strokes in outdoor substations over indoor substations, because indoor substations are not visible to all, so that in outdoor substations only the lightning strokes problem will appears, and outdoor substation equipment are deposed to sun, hence specially designed operators is needed to withstand higher temperatures. If the temperatures are more in case of outdoor substations, so the equipments are exposed to sun. So the sun rays are falls on the equipment connected in outdoor substations. So to withstand higher temperatures, the equipment used in outdoor substations will be specially designed. So, if not, the problem arises with the high temperatures uh, due to the sun rays. So this is the disadvantages. These are the disadvantages of outdoor substations over indoor substations. The merits, relative merits of indoor and outdoor substations are placed in this table. First, we have to uh, see that space required is more in outdoor systems, substations, and less in indoor substation, because in outdoor substations the substation is placed and every equipment is visible to everyone. So this every equipment has some space to place the equipment in the outdoor substation, but in indoor substation one building is there. In that building only all the equipments are placed. And erecting type. So the setup time is less for outdoor substations and more for indoor substations. So the erecting time is less in case of outdoor and more in case of indoor substations. And for future expansion is easy in outdoor substation, difficult in indoor substation, because outdoor substation it can visible to everyone, and the space requirement is also known to everyone. So further expansion in future also easy in outdoor substations, but in case of indoor substations it is difficulty. So the identification of fault is easy in outdoor and difficult in indoor, because indoor substations are not visible to everyone. So it will, if any fault occurs in the indoor substations, it is difficult to identify and operate, eliminate the fault in indoor. It is easy in outdoor substations. Next, coming to operation. The operation is difficult in outdoor, easy in indoor, because up to 11 kV voltage is under indoor substations. Above 66 voltage is close in outdoor substation. Then operation is much more difficult in outdoor than in indoor. So maintenance cost. Coming to the maintenance cost, the outdoor systems, outdoor substations are more maintenance cost, and indoor substations are less maintenance, because in outdoor substations it is above 66 kV voltage will close, so that the equipment used in these outdoor substations will be um, effectively take the 66 kV transmission. So the maintenance cost of every equipment is more to withstand the high temperatures and also high voltage transmissions. So maintenance cost is much more in outdoor substations than in indoor substations. And possibility of fault. Possibility of fault. So fault occurrence is less in case of outdoor substations and more in case of indoor substations. So possibility of lightning strokes are more in case of outdoor systems, and in case of indoor systems it is free from lightning strokes. So possibility of fault, possibility of lightning strokes. So possibility of fault is less in outdoor, means it is possibility of fault. When fault occurs, so it will be eliminated, or with the circuit breakers or other equipments it will be uh, eliminated the fault with short duration of time. But in case of indoor substations it is more time. The possibility of fault occurrence also more in the indoor substations. So possibility of lightning strokes are more in case for outdoor, means these are visible and it is open area. Outdoor means it will seen to everyone, and all the lightnings are comes to the transmission lines of outdoor substations or distribution lines of outdoor substations. And possibility of formation of dust. So possibility of formation of dust is more in outdoor substation because it is in open area. So it will experience the formation of dust, and indoor substations is less in possibility of formation of dust. These are the some of the merits of indoor and outdoor substations. Then merits of gas insulated substations over air insulated substations. So in this one, the operating personnel are protected by the earthed metal enclosures, hence the safety is more. So every person has to take safety from the transmission or distribution lines, because these lines carries power ranges from 3.3 to 3.3 kV to 400 to 30 volts, like that it will supplies the power. So the operating personnel is protected by the earthed metal enclosures, hence it has to save from the voltages. So the reliability is also more, as the live parts protected with high insulation system. So if insulation is there in the transmission systems or distribution systems, the live parts are protected with high insulations. The reliability is also more in case of gas insulated substations than air insulated substations. And the next one is, it requires 10% of the space for construction of the substations compared to air insulated substations. So it has in air insulated substations, the space requirement for construction is more than gas insulated substations. The gas insulated substations requires only 10% of space for construction of substation than in air insulated substations. And it requires no maintenance as because these are designed and quality of the equipment used are at high standards. So the no requirement of maintenance, because these are highly quality equipment and designed for uh, to withstand the high temperatures and all those things, and with high standard values or high quality values. Equipments are designed in gas insulated substations, so that it requires no maintenance as air insulated substations. And one more thing is, it requires less cost for building and foundations, because all the enclosures are with aluminum only, so that the cost of the aluminum is less. So because it requires less cost for building and foundation of the uh, all enclosures, and it requires less time for assembly of parts. So to assemble the parts of gas insulated substations, it takes less time to assemble all the parts in gas insulated substations. This is all about the merits of gas insulated substations over air insulated substations. In the next class, I will discuss about the equipments used in substations. Just few more things I list out the equipment used in substations are bus bars, isolators, and transformers, instrument transformers like uh, current transformers and potential transformers, circuit breakers, and metering equipment. So these are the some of the parts or equipments used in substations. So in the next class, I will briefly explain about all the equipments used in substations and purpose of all the equipments in the substations. So this is all about today's class, and we will meet in the next class. Thank you.